Post-war reparations. A compensation system established after the Miltian conflict that occurred 15 years ago. After the conflict, autonomous states and regions of space that had been heavily damaged, including Second Miltia, were given various vested interests and special extra-legal rights. Thanks to this post-conflict compensation, Second Miltia was able to join forces with the Kukai Foundation and earned the right to retain the Zohar emulators. However, many regions fell outside the scope of this plan, and rifts have formed between regions of space and autonomous states over the issue of compensation. Despite the creation of a compensation system, it seems that there are still many wounds from the war that have yet to fully heal. Device Activator Syringe. A syringe is a type of medical device used for administering injections or cleaning wounds. In the story, a syringe is used to inject Momo with the device activator when she stops functioning. A device activator is a chemical that activates nanomachines within the body. Since Yuli performed cardiac massage immediately after administering the chemical, it is believed she was attempting to restart Momo's cardiopulmonary functions. I appreciate the brief definition of a syringe. In case we didn't know what a syringe was.
I was unaware. I don't know if you were aware, but I wasn't.
Level
So
7
I
Personality Reconditioning. A treatment given to individuals who have committed a crime as a result of personality irregularities. Nanomachines are implanted into the patient's brain, regulating their thoughts and actions. The treatment has 9 levels, which run the gamut from comparatively light control of the brain's neurotransmitter sections to complete personality loss, achieved by overriding data in the cerebral neocortex, and followed by the creation of an entirely new personality within the brain. Rarely, some people's personalities cannot be corrected. In those cases, the subject will undergo increasingly powerful treatments until personality correction can be verified. Andrew, a life recycling variant, underwent level 7 and 8 personality reconditioning, but neither was effective. His destructive actions toward anyone who dared oppose him grew steadily worse. Occasionally, a sort of mark appears on his forehead. This phenomenon occurs when the implanted nanomachines become activated. In other words, it is a sign that the nanomachines are working vigorously within Andrew's brain in an attempt to keep his destructive behavior in check. In the story, the reconditioning facility staff recommends Andrew fill 9 treatment, indicating that the commander is a very rare case indeed. This guy was like a member of the Federation government, but secretly working for UTIC. He was on the Woodland Day and also managed to escape Ashion. And then he died by Gnosis. He got touched by a Gnosis during the Woodland Day attack and then slowly converted into a Gnosis, and then we killed him. They made like a really big deal about his backstory, and then his backstory just ended up being wholly irrelevant, so I don't really know what that was about.
Wait, he turned into a Gnosis?
Yeah, if a Gnosis touches you, you turn into a Gnosis eventually.
Oh. Okay. I wasn't aware of it.
You were, you forgot. That was one of the first things that I relayed about anything Xenosaga.
Oh, I guess I just forgot.
As
Yeah.
I mentioned on when I first got to the Durandal, that we learned that there were some humans that were turning into Gnosis, and I said my theory is that all Gnosis came from people.
Oh yeah.
Diving device. A device that connects a user's consciousness to virtual space constructed within the UMN. They come in many configurations from head-mounted type to bed type for various applications. Still, all models share the same basic functionality, mental state monitoring and connection. The more compact models are portable, making it possible to dive at any given moment, provided that one can connect to the UMN. However, monitoring accuracy can be fairly low, and actions within imaginary space may be limited. On the other hand, larger models boast high accuracy and a more stable virtual space experience. However, the devices themselves are immense, and their price tags equally so. Dive describes the act of accessing virtual space of another person's mental world via the UMN. If entering the encephalon, the full term is encephalon dive, but this is generally shortened to simply a dive. Dive pod, chiefly used to denote a capsule-shaped device used for encephalon diving via interconnection. Simple devices such as dive seats and goggle-mounted systems offer the same capability. In the story, these are used when conducting URTV link experiments. Dive unit. Equipment used when connecting to the UMN. The type and size vary according to the connection depth. As most connections are shallow, goggle-type units are in widespread use. In the story, Shion and crew used simple goggle-type devices, but since they were being used along with the Elsa's commercial-use customized module acting as a support system, the team was able to access Cosmos' database. This special model had been set up by Matthews to better experience the Seraphim Sisters concert via the UMN, despite his claims that nothing compares to attending a concert in person. Today's audiophiles will pay vast sums of money for equipment that brings the sound even a shade closer to the real thing. Direct approach. This describes the act of breaking the link between two parties connected via virtual seat VR2000 and directly transferring the consciousness into a target's encephalon. This is commonly called a dive for short. However, directly intruding in another person's consciousness is a high-risk proposition. The memories of a person with whom a past time and place were shared may resonate, and there is always the danger that one's sense of self versus other will become lost and that the border between the real world and the imaginary one will blur. Dummy protocol. A network protocol used to connect the perspective of Cosmos to that of its operator via the virtual seat VR2000. Since Cosmos is a standalone unit and does not require an external feed, this protocol is used only while Cosmos is inactive. Central Computer Pieta. The name of the mother frame installed into the Durandal. Junior has affectionately nicknamed it Mama. Pieta refers to any artwork depicting the Virgin Mary mourning over the dead body of Christ. Oh.
Okay.
Abstract cognitive function. This function takes visually received data, processes it through thought circuits to understand it, then causes it to be reflected in its host's consciousness. Humanoid Realians and androids are fitted with this function along with artificial personalities. This function is included because some recognition tasks cannot be performed without the capacity for feeling and thought. The function is necessary to ensure smooth communication with other entities. Central nervous system disorder. An affliction where the circuitry that perceives the outside world and demonstrates one's inner feelings is fragmented, making one unable to express emotions or speak. Thanks to the prevalence of the UMN, memories are now able to be shared as data. By overreacting to the emotions and memories recorded there, one loses the ability to express one's own feelings. Sakura suffered from this disease since birth, but it has also been known to develop spontaneously following excessive UMN access. It is certainly no exaggeration to say that the true consciousness of the victims of this disorder are floating through the cleft between the real world and imaginary space that is within the UMN. Ultra-wide-range Hilbert. Cosmos has an effective radius of about 300,000 kilometers within which she can use the Hilbert effect. She can also deploy it over a super-wide area should the situation call for it. Normally, even when using a system with an amplifier, the area maxes out at only a 100-kilometer radius. Cosmos, however, can far surpass that limit, unleashing the Hilbert effect over a radius of several hundred astronomical units. Maintenance box. A containment device that carries out maintenance on androids, Realians, and cyborgs, as well as performs operational checks when they fail to start up. Service modules with nanotherapy functions can be used by humans as well as cyborgs, and are useful for treating all sorts of maladies and injuries. Cosmos' exclusive service module is elongated and painted black. It features a restraint, called a binding, along with movement capability. Iron Maiden Cosmos is engraved on its hatch. DME addiction we've already read. Disconnect. Refers to the act of physically breaking one's connection to the encephalon within the UMN when trouble arises during the session. Although it depends on the connection system, in most cases the subject will suffer significant physical damage. In the worst case, his or her brain may even become impaired. For this reason, disconnects are usually prohibited. Transfer wave. The UTIC organization's autonomous fighter units, Autotechs, can gate jump independently, and their rear containers hold approximately 10 compact battle terminals. By emitting a signal to designate transfer coordinates at the target location, the Autotech unit can, within a limited area, rapidly transfer battle terminals one after another. Transfer system. Transport technology that uses gate jump technology with the UMN to transfer goods to remote locations. Because Cosmos' weapon systems includes this capability, she doesn't need to lug around oversized weapons. They can simply be transported from the storage facility as needed. However, only goods with static data can be directly transferred. Theoretically, life forms of fluctuating data can be transferred directly, but it is more or less impossible given the major mental and physical difficulties that can arise. To transfer living things, one must use a spaceship equipped with the appropriate system. I guess Ira turns the next step, you weren't here for it. A next-generation Realian model researched and developed by Joachim Mizrahi, featuring an even more human-like structure. First came Fabronia, then Cecilia, Catherine, and Amadel, who were built from Fabronia's test data. Research and development of battle models took place as well. Joachim Mizrahi also used transgenic-type data when working to create the 100 series observational unit. Public records indicate that all experimental data was lost during the Miltian conflict. Nataraja. Formerly known as Nataraja, this connection system was designed by Kevin and implements a direct approach. In the story, when Shion uses a direct approach for Cosmos' mainframe, this system is booted up. Nataraja is another name for Shiva, one of Hinduism's chief deities. While worshipped as the Lord of Dancing, he is also a fearsome god of destruction and creation. It is unclear why Kevin bestowed the system with one of Shiva's names. Neutral non-returning. Before a connection can be made with certain areas accessed via the UMN, a user's psyche must be synchronized with the area. An operator can make a connection if the monitored user's mental wavelengths are synchronized with the desired area. If the wavelengths are not synchronized, then the operator can send sympathetic wavelengths to the user in an attempt to synchronize them. Nexus 6. Ziggy, formerly known as Jan Sauer, sent the synthetic dog to his son Joachim, soon after becoming his new father. Nexus is the name of the company that manufactures synthetic animals, and the dog serial number is... not reading that. Nexus version 6. At the time, purebred dogs were prohibitively expensive and could not be easily purchased, so synthetic versions were more commonplace. It seems Ziggy named the dog Nexus 6 after its model number, but since that sounded like a robot name, Joachim shortened it to Nex. Heat death. Describes the death of the universe as drawn from the second law of thermodynamics and its assertion that as entropy increases, the quantity of heat reaches zero and all matter becomes nothing. In the story, Helmer used this concept to express the idea that if humans ceased living as human beings, all that would await them would be the death of the universe, in which everything becomes nothing. Hyperspace. Spaceships pass through hyperspace, which resembles a glittering tube in shape and aspect when performing a gate jump. If matter touches the boundaries of hyperspace, i.e. the tube's inner walls, a gigantic quantity of heat will be released and the matter will disintegrate into subatomic particles. As radioactivity is also abundantly present, it is dangerous to perform research and analysis within hyperspace itself, and many mysteries are still left unsolved. Paradigm contamination. A paradigm is the dominating rule governing how things are viewed and perceived in a given agent field. When a paradigm changes discontinuously, it is called a paradigm shift. In the story, the term is used to refer to the desperate circumstance when a computer's mainframe or OS has been hacked or otherwise invaded. 100 Series Observational Unit. Anti-Gnosis observational realians equipped with the 100 Series system, which combines DSSS and the Hilbert effect. They are young-looking realians designed by the late Professor Joachim Mizrahi and based on the Momo prototype. They were mass-produced by the Contact Subcommittee, a governmental institution of the Galaxy Federation. In the process of developing his Momo prototype, Professor Mizrahi manufactured a large number of data collection testbeds called Kirschwasser. Momo was the 100th model produced. At present, the 100 series system requires several dozen tons of system capacity. Theory holds that it cannot be miniaturized to human dimensions. The 100 series system, as used by the Galaxy Federation Army, consists of the main unit, a mainframe-like device measuring 10 cubic meters, and a production model 100 series Realian used as a personal device. Because the 100 series system has similar specs to those with which Cosmos has been equipped, it is possible that there is some sort of connection between them. As part of the late Professor Joachim Mizrahi's design concept, 100 series observational units resemble young children completely. It is said that when the Contact Subcommittee took over development after Joachim's death, they carried over the external features to ensure that all of the systems were working properly. Since it was impossible to reconstruct the systems that had been tuned for the youthful bodies, it is more likely that they simply went into mass production as is.
Pretty sure we read that one.
Maybe. I know I did.
Because I remember that bit at the end where it's talking about how they couldn't change the design.
Yeah, I don't remember
So they
if
just
you were there
made
for that
them
one,
like that.
but I know I did read that one. 100 Series Realian. The 100 Series Observational Realian developed for anti-gnosis purposes. See the entry in 100 Series Observational Units. Hilbert Effect. A limited perception field generation system developed as a method of reaching out from real space to interact with the gnosis, which exists in imaginary space. It makes interaction by real-world humans possible by translating imaginary space pulsations into a common language, and intentionally expanding the accessible area of imaginary space, normally Planck scale-sized. This also allows the use of everyday weapons against Gnosis who ignore the laws of physics. Usually, Cosmos can create a field of about 300,000 kilometers, but when using all her power, that field can expand to several million astronomical units. God fucking damn!
Cosmos, what the fuck?
Momo and 100 series observational units can create a field with a range of up to 100 kilometers using a special large-scale amplifier. Without this device, however, they are limited to only a few hundred meters. For primer!
Oh! We're walking. Yeah, they do that.
Detecting and capturing the remaining traces of energy being transmitted by the Zohar, thus extrapolating its position. Generally used to mean utilizing sequence information taken from DNA and analyzing the downstream sequences to determine the entire base sequence. They also invaded Lost Jerusalem once.
They also invaded Earth 9 times.
But the LJDF fended them off. Procurator describes an AI that serves to extract user-requested data from the immense information network known as the UMN. Data is managed by various AIs within the UMN, and procurators access these AIs on the user's behalf. This allows the user to efficiently retrieve the information he or she is seeking. Procurators primarily take voice commands. Keyboard commands are required when doing more precise settings are called for. I can read. Compact procurators also run on connection gears and other mobile devices. Xion uses Bunny, a procurator she made herself. Proprietary refers to technology and information monopolized by a certain company. In the story, data concerning Telos' development is under the jurisdiction of the Federation Army, as it was all monopolized by Roth Mantel. Even Vector's development division was unable to gain inside access. Holographic network. The neural network that makes it possible to view the data recorded within realians and androids as video in the real world. The analysis of the Y data Momo kept hidden passed through this network. Holography is based on the same fundamental principle as the brain's memory mechanism, hence the name.
Huh?
What?
Sorry, holography is based on the same fundamental principle as brain's mechanism, hence the name. I think I'm just not understanding something.
There, it's better now.
Yeah. Neural network, yep. Uh-huh.
Can't see the bottom part, it's all good now.
Okay.
Holographic mail terminal. A device that permits the sending and receiving of three-dimensional holograms over a network. The terminal's role is to take in the subject's information and voice from the sender's side, and then send it to a central computer. The central computer converts the terminal's data into video and audio, and passes it onto the recipient's computer. The terminal's function is simply to send data and to pass along the fact that the central computer has received the data. Data receipt and access occur at the central computer itself. University of Borneo. One of the top educational institutions in the Galaxy Federation, the University of Borneo has a long history, being, as it is, the first university constructed by humans in space. Despite this, its academic level and facilities are the most modern around. Many aspire to attend, but it is extremely difficult to make the rules. It has departments in both the humanities and the sciences, but about 70% of its curriculum lies in the departments of science and engineering, which are further divided into even more specialties. Chief disciplines include material application engineering, planetary science, mechanical systems engineering, and so on. With its Gothic architecture, one will never expect this university to be at the center of science and engineering. Many Vector employees are University of Borneo graduates, including Alan and Kevin, the professor at the helm of the Robot Academy on the Kukai Foundation. His friend, the other professor, and the professor's rival, the Dark Professor, also graduated from this institution. Mass Driver. A launch system that uses magnetism to accelerate high-mass objects instead of relying on propellants. Most often used for turning out large spaceships and transporting supplies to satellite orbits for use in the construction of orbital elevators and space colonies. In the story, a lone boy uses a mass driver at the spaceport on planet Mictum to escape. Kevin. Milsha Charter. a charter established by the Federation government to prevent incidents like the Miltian conflict which broke out 15 years ago from ever occurring. Of note in the Miltian Charter is Article 4, which speaks of to the social standing of Realians and was enacted because of the outbreak of Realian violence during the Miltian conflict. Because of this outbreak of Realian violence, the number of human victims declined. The Federation government declared Realians also feel stress, which gave rise to the outbreak of violence, thus stipulating human rights to Realians. However, even though their basic rights have been affirmed, Vector, the Realians' manufacturer, did not remove their control devices, which contains the self-destruct code. The Charter can therefore also be viewed as written permission to use said devices. Artificial Personality Layer. A human-like personality created to allow humanoid Realians and androids to communicate smoothly with humans. Since simulated personalities are based on the whole spectrum of emotions experienced by real humans, they are installed to match their host's appearance and function, whether it be a young female Realian or a medical use android. By using both artificial personalities and artificial intelligence, they can be given more human-like thoughts and emotions, but normally, one or the other is suppressed, and the Realian or android is calibrated to be convenient to its user. UNP stands for Unus Mundus Network Phone, a general personal use telephonic terminal, in other words, a mobile phone. Connection gears also support high-level communication features, but since they are prohibitively expensive, the UNP is much more widespread use. Several hundred companies manufacture UNPs, but the VE series from Vector Industries is the most popular. The latest VEU series features a motif starring the UMN mascot Bunny and is a favorite of Shion's. Because connection gears use special military channels, UMP channels are more likely to get through during a military emergency. For this reason, most technicians with connection gears still tend to keep a UMP as a backup communication device. Yeah, we read the UMN. UMN transfer column. One must use the UMN to gate jump. UMN transfer columns are areas that serve as gate jump portals. These columns exist as relay points in each designated area and connect pairs of transfer gates. Each column has its own range of influence, and it is not possible to gate jump outside a column's effective range. Gate jumping also incurs a toll that is collected whenever a column is used. The toll, charged on a pay-as-you-go basis, varies according to the distance traveled through hyperspace and ship classification. An average ship like the ELSA would pay 24.6 G per unit of hyperspace traveled. A special oversized ship, such as the Durandal, would pay about 3.85 times the toll of an average ship.
That was really
UMMs.
important that I know how much that cost.
It is. You gotta know how rich Junior
I'm
is. And how he won't share with the rest of the party.
Junior's fucking loaded and he still makes you buy him clothes.
UMN Pulse. The signals indicating transport routes to spaceships constantly being transmitted by UMN transfer columns. When a gate jump is performed, one must receive either the destination pulse each column emits or the route pulse each column receives. Realian. Definitely already read that one last night. Okay, we're free from cultural. Finally.
Alright, we only got two more. Unknown locations.
Up to you where we go next.
Pick a number 1 through 5.
3.
Alright, hold on a second. Let me get to this real quick. You said 3?
Yeah.
If it's correct, we go with locations. If it's wrong, we go with unknown. We're going with unknown.
Vessels of
It was
Anima.
2.
Vessel of Anima. An object that closely resembles the spinal cord of a living creature. How it works is unclear, but it functions as a receiving system for Zohar energy, making it useful as a power reactor for ES units. Abel's Arc. The Galaxy Federation sees this as a giant gnosis that appeared in Miltian space. The luminous object in the center is not a planet, but it is speculated to be something like a giant energy field. ES. The general term for humanoid mobile weapons loaded with a vessel of anima. Their cockpits can be either a single or a two-seat, depending on whether or not firing control needs to be divided between a pilot and a co-pilot. Most units equipped with a large amount of weaponry are two-seat due to their specialized functionality. Ormus units are single-seat. The size of an ES is not greatly different from that of standard AIMs, but its fighting ability can be an order of magnitude greater. With the right combination of weaponry and pilot, an ES can hold enough combat power to be a match for a whole division of AIMS units. The chief reason given for this is the complete difference in the quality of the energy it uses for its operation, as well as the method by which that energy is supplied. AIMs, like eggs, operate via pulse energy transferred from the mothership, making them highly reliant on their UMN connection status and the condition of the mothership. This leads to the amount of energy that can be supplied in a given amount of time to be necessarily limited. This holds especially true when the mothership has been destroyed in battle. In such a case, basically the only recourse for a unit is to operate using its internal condenser and auxiliary cogenerator. However, since the firearms and logical drive installed in each unit were designed under the assumption that they would be receiving a large supply of pulse energy from a mothership, it becomes impossible to operate everything at full spec. On the other hand, since ES units operate on energy supplied by the Zohar via the Vessel of Anima interface, the supply of energy is inherently limitless. They are not reliant on the status or location of a mothership, which makes their operating radius and the weaponry they can use in battle practically unlimited. Of course, it is rarely the case that they use weaponry so overly enormous that it severely reduces their mass balance and mobility. The only disadvantage is that an unqualified pilot is unable to link the Vessel of Anima with the Zohar and therefore cannot even start the unit. There are only a very few qualified pilots in the entire galaxy. As a result, ES operation seems to be naturally limited to a tactical level operation. That was a lot.
You think? Maybe just a bit,
ES Asher. Chaos and Juniors unit. Customized for Juniors use. A versatile unit capable of handling both ground and air combat, it is prepared with weaponry that can handle all aspects of battle. It is equipped with the Erta Kaiser's generator as an auxiliary unit. Though auxiliary, the generator, originally fully tuned to operate the Erta Kaiser, outputs a ludicrous amount of power, enough to operate all weaponry trouble-free at full spec without a Vessel of Anima.
Okay then.
ES Issachar. Pelagri's unit. It was primarily built for multiple simultaneous multi-directional ether attacks, making it one of the most air combat capable Ormus units. The ether connection base can also be operated as a flexible shield. It is equipped with a spear for close-range defense. ES Gad. Richard's unit. Its frail exterior is a mismatch for its gun combat specialization. It is equipped with a large, high-powered firearm. Its light armor is offset by its mobility. ES Simeon. Albedo's unit. Equipped with a long tail stabilizer, which functions as a logical drive, its forte is high mobility combat. Its ability to deal with any battle situation, short or long range, makes it an almighty unit. ES Zebulon. Ziggy and Momo's unit. Customized for Momo's use, it specializes in long-range gun combat and has been installed with a great deal of firepower. Its mobility lags behind other ES units, but it covers for this drawback with its multi-directional ether attacks. Even with its two-seat structure, the enormous amount of weaponry installed would be completely impossible for a normal co-pilot to handle. It is safe to say that this task could only be managed by Momo, a 100 series observational unit. ES Dan. Voyager's unit. Equipped with a giant transformable shield, its defensive capabilities, when coupled with Voyager's spatial distortion abilities, are immense. When in its cruising configuration with the shield folded, its mobility rivals that of Simeon. ES Dina. It was built by Kevin as a supplementary weapon for Cosmos, but never officially registered. Shion accompanies Cosmos in the ES Dina. Within Vector, it was never treated as anything more than a piece of equipment with which to gather data for the Cosmos project. Its value as a machine is already depreciated in full. As a result, Shion has been allowed to operate it on her own authority. However, as it is still an ES, Wilhelm later officially requested it be loaned to the Kukai Foundation. The unit's characteristics include its long travel range, on the level of a space cruiser, and its high speed and mobility in battle. It also has an ample array of firepower. The X-Buster made available when the unit is operating in conjunction with Cosmos is especially worth noting. Although it has a two-seat cockpit, when not docked with Cosmos, Shion handles everything from unit control to firearms herself, apparently having made the lower seat into a simple navigational station. The unit's head contains a docking connector for a mobile Dina interface. ES Naftali. Virgil's unit. Okay, we never fought the Naftali, which means Virgil can't be done with, right?
Maybe?
Oh, wait, hold on. I think I did fight that, actually. But, like, we didn't... Oh, they did take the Vessel of Anima out of it. Because you were there for that story so far recap thing where it said that the Red Testament came down and after beating up the Blue Testament, it took out the Vessel of Anima.
Yeah.
Disappointing if that's all that happens with Virgil, but oh well. Specialized for gun combat. It lags slightly behind other ES units in its mobility, but the attacks unleashed by its innumerable weapon stores make up the difference. It has a transforming mechanism that lets it go into a cruising configuration. ES Judah, the Red Testament's unit. ES Joseph, Herman's unit. Its forte is close-range combat using its giant club. It always works alongside Richard's Gad as a two-man cell, taking the role of defensive shield for the Gad's light armor. ES Reuben, Jin's unit. Customized for Jin's use, specially made for close-range combat, it is equipped with 2 real swords. Its design emphasizes higher dimensional battle mobility. As a result, its armor is light and it has no shield equipment. However, this is covered by Jin's unique battle style, which combines offense and defense using his swords. While it holds none of the heavy weaponry seen on other ES craft, the Reuben can unleash a special attack, a technique by Jin that launches a shockwave from his swords that serves as an effective move against faraway enemies. ES Levi. Or I think they called it Levy. Margulis's unit. It was designed to be a versatile unit capable of waging battle at both short and long ranges, but all long-range weaponry was removed at Margulis's request. Instead, it was equipped with a longsword. It has also been equipped with 2 intimidation weapons, a throwing weapon similar to a kunai, and a small throwable high explosive. Yeshua. The term Wilhelm uses to refer to chaos. Jesus Christ. Inquisitors, a group aligned with Ornis. It holds a singular position within the religious organization, and the cardinal that leads it is said to have verbal clout and influence rivaling the patriarch. Udu, the Unus Mundus Drive Operations System. Said to be a control AI originally created as a UMN navigational device, it was refitted by Joachim Mizrahi as a Zohar command device. According to Vector Records, the history of Link experiments with Udu extends back to the Lost Jerusalem era. Apparently, it has been recognized as a weight-based existence since far before the development of the UMN. Even today, details on Udu have not been revealed. It is thought to be a consciousness that exists in a different dimension from our own, and deeply intertwined with the space-time anomaly touched off by the Zohar and its going out of control. The UTIC organization, knowing that certain people are able to make contact with this wave existence, gathered test subjects with this contact ability and conducted Zohar operational experiments. They tried to use them to complete a so-called Udu system, but in the end it merely led to the Zohar going out of control. Udu Simulator, a system built by the Yuriev Institute, mainly used for URTV link experiments, that creates artificial Udu waves within the encephalon. The simulator was also used to conduct adjustment of the URTV's anti-waveforms. Although the Udu waves the system produces are purely artificial, there have been several accidents during encephalon drills that have caused standard URTVs to become infected. The Udu waveform sample on which the system was based was provided by Dmitry Yuriev, the person in charge of the facility. It has not been revealed when he procured the sample. Interesting. Omega Universitas. An Omega type test unit of an interstellar strategic integrated weapons system, independently developed from a concept procured by the Galaxy Federation government from the immigrant fleet nation. The freshly rolled out unit was seized during the Miltian conflict by the UTIC organization from a weapons plant under Federation jurisdiction. Although the unit's miniaturized body successfully lengthened its continuous operational time, the maximum power of its installed generator far exceeds its endurance rating. As a result, it was completed with a continuous operational time lower than what had been assumed at the start of development. In order to ameliorate its fragility, the unit is installed with a system that will transform itself into a configuration that can withstand the power of its generator as it rises. This revolutionary system reads the pilot's nerve impulses and automatically executes the transformation as his reaction speed to the unit increases. Unfortunately, the potential of this unit rests entirely on the mental state of the pilot. Faced with the danger of it going out of control if the pilot's nerve impulses became unbalanced, it is currently in the custody of the Special Weapons Development Sector of the Consolidated Advanced Technology Testing Grounds as an unmanned unit with an imitation personality installed as its pilot. Omega Res Novae, a unit based off Proto-Omega, which was recovered during the fall of Miltia, recreated and partially upgraded by Dmitry Yuriev as an anti-immigrant fleet weapon. Although it does not house the original Zohar itself, it uses Able as its core module and an emulator as an auxiliary, making its power far greater than the original Proto-Omega. The exterior itself is not greatly different, however, since an emulator is being used in place of the Zohar at the core, functionality is unstable and at a lower power output. Omega Res Novae can be translated as Omega Revolution. Original Zohar, read that last night. Imaginary space. There is a theory that the space we live in is composed of two realities and nothingness. Normal space, which we are actually able to perceive, and imaginary space, which proceeds along an imaginary temporal axis we cannot perceive. The concept of imaginary time itself is a theory devised by Hawking to explain the birth of the universe without the use of singularities, without relying on the existence of God. With it, one can picture a universe without any beginning, the Big Bang singularity, or end, the Big Crunch singularity, but instead simply composed of a multidimensional hyperspherical surface. In this story, the Gnosis exists along this imaginary temporal axis and intervene in normal space. Gnosis. Did we read this one yesterday?
Maybe?
Non-physical beings that exist in imaginary space. Supposedly, physical contact cannot be made with them from normal space, but with the development of the DSSS system and Joachim Mizrahi's Hilbert effect and 100 series observational units, it is possible for people in normal space to interact with them. Gnosis phenomenon. The phenomenon of people, things, and planets suddenly nosifying. Not only the result of direct contact with the gnosis, this can also occur in a chain reaction fashion from a great distance. As a result, urgent research is underway in search of a link to the cause. Cosmos Archetype Basic Theory. The basic theory behind a humanoid fighting system researched by Kevin Winnicott. Shion repaired the black box that is Cosmos' core based on this data. 15 years ago, Kevin had already built the foundation behind the theory. Since the data was originally meant for archetype use, it is not compatible with Cosmos version 3. Shion and Alan were forced to redesign her framework. This is why Cosmos' appearance has been changed to a configuration closer to her original form. 13th Key. Words Roth Mantell is believed to have said in reference to Shion and Cosmos. Pilgrimage Fleet. Another term for the Gnosis. See the Gnosis heading.
Okay then.
Executioner. A term referring to URTV unit number 669, Negredo. Negredo is called this by Albedo, since he is imbued with the ability to obliterate URTV unit number 666, Rubido, also known as Red Dragon. Zohar Emulator. An emulator is something that simulates the operations of one computer system on a different set of hardware and software. In this story, it refers to the original Zohar emulators created by the late Joachim Mizrahi. They were used by the UTIC organization as auxiliary originals for the Link experiments on planet Ariadne and elsewhere. However, their original role was to act as an ignition key to operate the original. A total of 12 were created by Joachim, each one inscribed with the name of one of the 12 apostles. Interesting? I already knew about them being named after the apostles, but their original role is to act as a key to operate the original.
So they're not like
13th
copies.
Key over here says that Shion and Cosmos are being referred to as a 13th key.
They are the last
and the
thing
whole
needed
15
to activate.
years ago Miltia thing, we saw Shion activate the Zohar.
Yeah. And bring in the Gnosis.
No, I'm scrolling too far. They went missing after the Miltian conflict, but all 12 were recovered by the Kukai Foundation, which currently manages them. During the drill on 5th Jerusalem, the Omega Res Novae was using an imitation emulator as its core that had been constructed by Dr. Cellius from surplus parts. It was used despite its unstable power output control nearly causing the Omega to go out of control. Okay, so you're saying they made an emulator for an emulator? Because I've been confused about that ever since the beginning of the game. I was wondering how Omega Nabai had a Zohar emulator, but are you trying to tell me that it has a Zohar emulator? Is that what you're getting from this too?
We during the fifth journal of history, was using implementation emulator as its core that had been constructed by Dr. Sellers from surplus parts. Used despite its unstable power output control, mainly causing mega chaotic control. So they were using. See, okay, because the emulators aren't like we read. They're not like, they're keys to activate the Zohar, right?
Okay.
So, but they're not like it's not like they're copies of the Zohar.
They kind of
right?
are, though.
Yeah, okay, but they're not meant to function as the Zohar.
They each contain a portion of the Zohar's power in order to build up to unlock the Zohar. They are just many Zohars.
Okay, so but they're not exactly a Zohar.
They are
They are
not as
separate from
powerful,
the
but they have the same properties.
Okay, so what they did was they made a fake small Zohar.
The Zohar
Right?
emulator.
I suppose.
Because up here it says that the Durandal has all of them. All 12. All 12 are recovered by the Kukai Foundation, which currently manages them. And then Sellers constructed an extra one, but instead of just saying that it's its own emulator, like an original Zohar emulator, they're calling it an imitation emulator. Which to me sounds like it is imitating specifically the emulator.
Yeah, it is a fake emulator. It's like a copy of a key.
Okay, but the Zohar is not a door. In this analogy. The key cannot open and let you in places. I'm saying that the Zohar emulators are still massive power sources that work just like a Zohar, just not as strong. So
Yeah.
yes, while they are a key in the sense that all 12 of them supposedly link up to unlock the original Zohar,
Okay.
that is not all they do.
Hold on.
They are still Zohars.
So they are each okay. So let's say the Zohar is a big door with 12 locks, 12 like padlocks. Okay. For every Zohar emulator that you use, right?
Zohar emulator. An emulator is something. We just read this. Why am I here?
Yeah. What are you doing? We were just reading this. This is what kicked off this.
Well, either way, this still helps.
Conversation.
They were used by the UTIC organization as auxiliary originals for the Link experiments on planet Ariadne and elsewhere. However, their original role was to work as a key.
Yes.
So they work as mini Zohars, but that was not what they were designed for.
Correct.
Okay.
So, you have, 12 padlocks on the door that is the Zohar, right?
Sure.
Except every time you unlock one of those padlocks, it creates unimaginable energy, I guess. I don't know. You can create a copy of that key and unlock the same padlock. It just isn't as good as the original. Does that make any sense?
No. Why is it not the same key?
I don't know, because the guy who made it was really bad at his job.
Compass of Order and Chaos. A compass placed in Wilhelm's office that reacted to Cosmos' awakening. It uses a plate modeled after the Zohar discovered at the Lake Turkana, and it's set in a stone tablet on top of the base. Wilhelm apparently uses this compass to procure assorted information, but how it works is shrouded in mystery. The Chaos Ring is currently non-functional, so it is also referred to as the Compass of Order. Zarathustra, an entity shrouded in mystery. It is not even known whether it is physical or non-physical in nature.
All right, real quick. I gotta go for a little bit. I'm sorry, I keep having to go for a little bit. But this one, I shouldn't be gone for very long at all.
Okay. We're almost done with Unknown.
Okay. Wait. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Give me a second. Okay, I'm here. Hello.
Hello.
Alright, let's continue.
Proto-Merkaba, a giant research plant created by Joachim Mizrahi where research was conducted on the 100 series observational unit, prototypes, and the Hilbert effect, as well as on specialized types of realians. Originally, it was planned to serve as the mothership Proto-Omega alongside the Song of Nephilim. After losing Sakura, however, Joachim used it as a plant to create Momo. After the Miltian conflict, it was taken over by the Federation government and was sealed inside the abyss from which it was resurrected by Albedo. It can take in Gnosis, convert them to energy, and use that energy as a weapon. If it were ever actually used, it has enough power to wipe out a combined fleet instantly. Secret data. Privileged vector data that is placed inside S Division within the UMN non-public informational records, mainly concerning the UMN and backroom deals that have been conducted in the past are reported here. Shion cooperated with Scientia to collect this information and find out the truth behind Vector. Data on We went through so many different pronunciations last night that I do not remember which one's the official one.
Namekian?
I think it's Namekian,
Namekian. Yes, yes, yes.
but maybe it was Namekian. I don't know, I
I think
keep going back and
Namekian.
forth.
I think Namekian is right.
I apologize if I say it wrong. Data on Lemegeton and Grimoire Verum and Project Canaan came from this classified information. Song of Nephilim. One of the devices made by the late Joachim Mizrahi to control the Zohar, it is shaped like a giant inverted pyramid. It was once stored within Labyrinthos, headquarters of the UTIC organization. Shion saw it shaped from her mother's hospital room. As the name implies, the Song of Nephilim plays a song, a wavelength, which cannot be heard by normal human ears. The song is said to attract the Gnosis. The Song of Nephilim are the words of God that were recorded in the Y data, one of the relics, the legacies of God. A man named Grimoire Verum analyzed these words to create the program known as Lemegeddon. Joachim reconstructed a fragmented version of this program as part of the Udu system. The wavelengths it emitted included the word Nephilim in its human audible range, so he named the system the Song of Nephilim. The Song of Nephilim was used in the Miltian conflict 15 years ago, however, as it had not been tuned by Joachim, his power was insufficient to bring the Zohar into operation. Whitening. In most cases, people who come into contact with the Gnosis experience a phenomenon where their body turns white and shatters into pieces. Cases of people mutating into Gnosis after whitening, while rare, have been confirmed. During the Gnosis attack on the Woblende, Shion and Andrew were attacked by a Gnosis and subjected to this whitening phenomenon for a short period of time. Both escaped with their lives, but Andrew would later mutate into a Gnosis. Despite the fact that everyone who was whitened will eventually Gnosify, Shion has continued to avoid this disaster even to this day. Whether or not there is a reason for this is unclear. Anti-Udu waveforms. The ability to generate waves opposite to the waves generated by Udu. These waves could be described as canceling waves. URTVs are equipped with this ability. Program Canaan. A surveillance program said to be installed within Canaan. It is unclear what kind of program it is. Proto-Omega. One of the relics of God, constructed and operated by the UTIC organization during the Miltian conflict. Afterwards, it was subjected to repeated linkage operational tests with the original Zohar, then deployed to intercept Federation forces during the first and second Miltian descent operations. It was set to be deployed in the third descent operation as well, but once the Gnosis appeared, it was left to the hangar in the confusion. After the Miltian conflict, it was once again operated by Sergius XVII upon his landing on Miltia. Pendant. A crystal pendant worn by Shion, originally a memento of Kevin's mother who died when he was young. It was given to Shion by Kevin. It appears to have a pink object buried inside of it, making it no ordinary crystal. Dimension shift. The act of transferring space itself to another space in a different location and phase, a phenomenon that deviates from all laws of physics. Things that supposedly exist are made to disappear as if there had never been anything there at all. Lost Jerusalem is thought to have been shrunk to Planck scale size and erased from existence by a dimension shift caused by the Zohar going out of control. Link Master. URTVs deploy a mental link in order to emit the waves that destroy Udu. The Link Master is the person who directs this deployment. This role was held by Rubido, who possesses strong anti-Udu waveforms. URTVs have been conditioned to be able to form a consciousness wave that acts against Udu. The Link Master sets this wave, and the other URTVs adjust their own waves to match. Red Dragon, a term referring to the generation mode for the final anti-Udu waveform booster. Junior's assigned role is to use this ability to amplify waves sent by the other URTV units and have them converge to annihilate Udu's waves. Junior can also emit this wave himself, although its power is limited. Namekian, a Zohar control program that can create certain specified wavelengths constructed by vector programmer Grimoire Verum during the Lost Jerusalem era. Apparently, these wavelengths affect not only the operation of the Zohar, but the appearance of Gnosis as well. Grimoire used the wavelengths to control the Gnosis and set off the Gnosis terrorism incidents. Namekian was fragmented into pieces during the Miltian conflict and was later scattered across the UMN. Half a year ago, Grimoire collected all the fragments and reassembled them upon his death after the Gnosis terrorism. However, Namekian was lost once more.
I think it's Namekian. Because, okay, if I recall correctly, this is the one we talked with Graydon about yesterday. That was also a Binding of Isaac item. Namekian, I think.
I'm just going to pick one and stick with it until it gets voiced again. Y data. Said to be research data related to the Zohar left behind by the late Joachim Mizrahi. Joachim sealed it into Momo's subconscious domain during the Miltian conflict.
The Lola
Graydon?
gamer.
Graydon,
Yeah.
we need your help. Was it
Yeah.
Namekian or was it Namekian?
I believe it was Lemageddon.
Namekian?
Okay,
Yeah.
I was right.
Okay, then yeah. Chase is right. We're going through all the data, the entries. We got to where Namekian was talked about again.
We've been here for hours reading.
I've had to go
Fair.
like 3 times. Chase had to go a couple times.
Chat, what do you think about words?
No one's here, so I guess they hate them.
They hate words,
Tragic.
actually.
Kids these days can't stand to read. Or watch other people read.
Watch other people read is so funny.
Kids these days need Subway servers.
The UMN transport code for Old Miltia, closed off 15 years ago, is recorded inside the data. Someone who obtained this code would not only be able to gate jump to Old Miltia again, but would also be able to obtain the original Zohar sleeping on Old Miltia. Consequently, a vicious battle unfolded between the UTIC organization and the Federation government over this Y data, with efforts on all sides concentrated on securing Momo. After Momo had been brought into the custody of the Contact Subcommittee, an attempt to remove the protection from the Y data and salvage it was undertaken at the UMN Administration Center on 2nd Miltia. Thanks to Albedo's plot, however, the analysis failed. That resulted in the data being leaked to outside sources, setting off the space-time anomaly in Miltian space.
Well, good luck with that.
We finished Unknown!
I
One category
go back
left.
to talking to that racist piece of shit.
What?
Oh, Graydon left, and I said, oh, he's gonna go back to talking to that racist piece of shit.
Who's racist?
Nova.
Since when?
I sent you the screenshots, didn't I?
Of AI, not of racism.
No, I thought I sent you the thing that Nova said about the immigrants.
What?
The thing that was like they said you've gone off the liberal deep end, and I was like, oh no, the liberal deep end. I think people shouldn't be exploited, and human beings shouldn't be killed and deported. Oh no, I've been brainwashed.
I don't
And they said,
think I've been informed of this.
I thought I told you. When was this? It was what? It was. It was Saturday. It was on Saturday.
Oh, if it was that recent, then absolutely not, no.
Hold on, I thought I sent you.
Nope.
Oh, I think. Oh, I told you. I told you about the thing that they said though. I made a really generalized statement about it, but I didn't say the full thing. I didn't say the full thing. Where I said I just had the worst conversation of my life.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, but basically, I said something about how the people being deported was bullshit, and they were like, conflicting statement. We're deporting people because they kill people. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Just because you read something and it's shocking, that means it must be true. Like, yada yada, you cross the border legally, you know.
Okay, so, like, Americans kill people too. Should we deport them?
That's what I'm saying. Like genuinely, that's what I said. I said, what's it called?
Back to their mother's basement.
They like literally they sent me an article about an immigrant killing somebody. Okay, and I said, okay, now pull up how many white American citizens have killed people in the last month.
Ad hominem.
What's it called?
Anyway, I don't
Hasty.
want
What's it called?
Trump
Hasty.
to explode my computer.
But
Because he'd get angry if he finds out and send a nuke to my house.
basically, they said every immigrant deserves to be exported. They're not allowed. cannot speak. And then you have to go burn it. And she's just like, we have a lot of those. That's nothing to me. I forget what the actual line is. Hold on, let me go find it. Oh my god, let me find it. GLaDOS Portal 1 Companion Cube. Are the Portal Companion Cubes actually sent into or is GLaDOS yada yada? I think GLaDOS is actually just fucking with you. What do you think? Do you think GLaDOS is just fucking with you?
About what?
About the companion cubes. Like, she says they can't speak, and in the event that they do try to speak to you, like to do something. I forget what it is.
Okay.
Oh yeah. The enrichment center is required to remind you the weighted companion cube cannot talk. In the event that it does talk, the enrichment center asks you to ignore its advice. I saw somebody saying, like, do we actually think that they can talk, or was GLaDOS fucking with you?
GLaDOS said it can't talk. How would that be fucking with us?
And then she says, if it does talk.
Yeah, that would be concerning.
If it does talk, ignore its advice.
Yeah, it's not supposed to talk,
Which,
so if it's talking, something's wrong, so don't listen to it.
well, I mean, that implies a precedent for it speaking.
It just implies covering all their bases.
GLaDOS doesn't cover unnecessary bases.
I saw a deer the other day. If you come back, I'll tell you about it. Yeah, so I counted how many we have in this category. 42. There are 42 more to read.
The locations
Abyss.
thing is the meaning of life.
The term referring to the singularity within the double black hole that appeared near Old Milton space, after the space-time anomaly that occurred there. It was so named to reflect the special property of black holes. If you ever come near one, you will never be able to get out. S-line division. The S-line division, also referred to as S-line. This is the term for Vector's data administration section within the UMN, categorized into 4 ranks S, A, B, and C based on level of importance. S-line, where Vector's classified information is stored, is the highest ranking section. Therefore, it cannot be accessed without the CEO's permission. We activated it, or accessed it pretty easily. I don't think we had the CEO's permission. Grimoire, mastermind behind the Gnosis terrorism, was isolated within S Division in a place known as Ars Nova. He controlled the Gnosis from within S Division as he attacked cities on multiple planets.
Not Ars Nova.
Ars Nova.
I don't care who Ars. I don't care whose Nova it is. I don't want to talk to him.
It's Ars Nova. Elsa. A Lohengrin-class passenger freighter transport, length 166 meters, weight 8,400 tons, captained by Matthews. Originally a high-speed personal space cruiser, it was granted to Matthews by a certain person as compensation for his services. It was later remodeled by Matthews, Tony, Hammer, and the rest of the Elsa's crew, who now use it for retrieving junk and other objects. The ship is rigged from stem to stern with unauthorized hidden weaponry, a fact that is unnoticeable from the outside. Its main propulsion engine has been replaced with the latest model logical drive, heavily tuned. In Tony's words, it boasts the fastest speed of any space vessel in the universe. After landing on second Miltia, it was refurbished to add alterations to the structure and internal layout of the ship. In particular, the eggs hangar on the bottom of the ship was enlarged to where it could maintain several ESs at once. This remodeling was headed up by the Professor. Matthews is in love with the swan-like ship, but it is currently put up as collateral for a loan from the Kukai Foundation. Orma Stronghold. A free-orbiting fortress over 10 kilometers in length, used by Margulis and the Inquisitors as one of their bases after abandoning Pleroma. It was set to be deployed in the battle against the Federation fleet inside the path to Miltia when it opened. However, it wound up being hurriedly pressed into use as a defense line against the Elsa when it tried to break through the path. Despite this, it was destroyed from the inside by ES craft piloted by Shion and the others, and was ultimately swallowed into the abyss. Isolation Area. A quarantine area in Sector D of the Durandal where the Zohar emulators were stored, also known as the Zohar Room. It was established as a countermeasure to both the Gnosis and the Utic organization which is hunting the Zohar. Inside, 12 Zohar emulators are kept under strict control via an attract inhibitor in a large space which has been divided into 13 blocks. Each block has been given the name of one of the 12 apostles, the followers of Christ. The 13th block bears the name Marienkind, or Child of Mary. This is where the original Zohar is slated to be stored. Orbital Elevator. A giant elevator that connects a planet with a space station. It can make several round trips a day between the space station and between a space station in geosynchronous satellite orbit and a platform established near the planet's equator. This eliminates the need for a crew to land their spaceship on the surface of the planet. Some planets combine their orbital elevators with mass driver-based launch systems. Orbital Station. A space station that has been established in satellite orbit above a planet, primarily intended for the docking of ships. The cylinder extending from an orbital station is connected several thousand meters below with a facility that has been built on the planet's surface near the equator. An elevator that has been established within the cylinder allows the crews of ships that have docked on the orbital station to transport themselves or the goods they brought with them to the surface without having to deal with atmospheric entry. People or goods on the surface can also be transported to space in the same manner. Previously, launching ships via a mass driver was the customary approach. However, the orbital elevator system has become heavily used in recent years as a safer, low-cost alternative. A planet's orbital station is seen as the front door to that planet. So fun fact, the elevator on 5th Jerusalem takes 4 hours to go from the space station to the planet.
Okay.
Can you imagine a 4-hour elevator ride?
Do I have to be standing the whole time?
No, it's got like couches and like bathrooms and shit.
Okay, good. Then yes, I can imagine a 4-hour couch ride. Or not couch, elevator ride. Yeah, I can imagine a 4-hour couch ride.
Okay, but you know how you take an elevator and then like once it stops, you have to like readjust to gravity functioning as normal?
Uh-huh.
Imagine that for 4 hours instead of 30 seconds. The readjustment from the G-force changing.
Yeah, I could still do that. I'm gonna be so honest. Because the thing is, I'm not gonna be doing that often, right?
I mean, it depends.
I live on the ground, but I work in the space station. At which point, I will be so used to it that it's no longer an issue.
Okay, well, fun fact about that actually, shifts on the space station you're required to stay up there for, I think they said like 4 days, but it might have been like a week or something.
Okay.
So you go up there for prolonged periods of time and then come back down and stay down for a bit. So you're not constantly going up and down like that.
Okay, then yeah, that
easier.
seems
Although
fine.
you would be isolated on the space station for multiple days straight.
Would you be the only person on the space station?
The staff and the people who show up.
Oh, yeah, by the way, does the okay, so planet rotates, right? Planet orbits. Does the space station move with the planet?
Okay, let me pull the picture back up. It's on a ring here?
Yeah.
So, I don't know where I was going with that, honestly. I actually really don't know where I was going with that. I don't know.
Is where the elevator comes down always the same place?
Yes, otherwise it would be like destroying the planet because it's like scraping the floor and like kicking people.
Okay, that's what I thought. Which brings up a lot of logistic concerns as to how that space station doesn't snap.
Well, they were talking about it on the equator.
Okay.
It can make several round trips a day between a space station and geosynchronous satellite orbit and a platform established near the planet's equator. So the idea is that the space station is like free floating, like kind of sitting on top of the elevator, but the orbit is at the same speed as the planet's rotation.
Okay.
And because the elevator is positioned on the equator, it never like offsets.
Okay, so question. Does is the elevator always like, does it always go all the way up, or does it like retract and only when it's in use like connect fully.
There is more than one elevator.
Okay, so what? So there are several elevators that go to the same space station.
Yeah, there's like hundreds of them. I don't remember exactly how many they were, but they said there were enough so that there is no logistical way that you could ever have to wait.
Okay.
But as for the logistics of what happens if you ride the elevator all the way up and then somebody calls your elevator down, I guess the answer to that is they have so many extras that once an elevator is brought to the top and everyone's off, it just goes back down, and while you're waiting for that elevator to come back down, you just take a different one up. So I guess it's like
Okay.
always on and off cycle. That's my guess.
Okay.
But the fact that they actually have bullshit answers for this that work but did not need to ever be thought about is quite impressive for world building.
I mean, those are the questions that I ask,
Well, I
like
mean,
logistically,
yeah,
every
no,
single time I see
I'm
something
with
like
you.
this.
But like, realistically, you could just say, yeah, there's a giant space station elevator, and then leave it at that.
You really could. You
'Cause, like,
really could.
Yeah, people like us are going to question that with logistics and everything, but realistically, it doesn't matter. It's a game. So the fact
I mean,
that
the
they
thing
did
is,
go out of their way to make in-universe explanations for all of this that are plausible, I appreciate that.
none of that's necessary. Like, the thing is, like, I'm not even like pedantic. I just genuine curiosity. I just like knowing.
No, yeah, exactly.
I think it's interesting.
That's why I'm sitting here reading
So,
all this
like,
shit.
anyways,
Gedalia Autonomous State. An autonomous state that is home to the headquarters of the 422nd Federation Fleet, which surrounded the Kukai Foundation as Second Militia fell to the UTIC organization. Rumor has it that the officials related to the UTIC organization have infiltrated the upper ranks of its government, and that Gedalia's representative in parliament has ties to Ormus that date from before the Miltian conflict. Like Helmer, the representative has a background as a high-ranking officer in the Galaxy Federation forces, but much of that history remains unclear. The state has argued in the Federation Parliament against Second Militia's right to the Zohar, as well as against the arming of the Kukai Foundation. Although Gedalia and Second Militia are affiliated with the same Federation, one could say that the two planets currently see each other as enemies. Sakura's house. The encephalon created within Sakura's subconscious domain a visualization of a warm home in her mind. It was used as a place to carry out URTV mental link experiments as well as to treat Sakura. Junior first met Sakura here. For Sakura, it was the first time she had ever met anyone who could understand her words. Acute Neurosis Treatment Facility. The medical facility where Aoi Uzuki, Shion's mother, is hospitalized in a vegetative state. Instead of performing normal medical treatments, it used cutting-edge technology to administer nanomedicine, experimental treatments, and so forth. In truth, it was part of the Labyrinthos facility, headquarters of the UTIC organization. It collected subjects who could contact Udu in order to conduct link experiments with the vessels of Anima and the Zohar. Aoi Uzuki was amongst the test subjects. During her experiments, Fibronia was used as part of the system. During the Miltian conflict, an 8-year-old Shion... 8-year-old Shion? I thought she was 18. Oh no, she was 18 when she joined Vector.
I was about to say we're talking about child Shion.
No, yeah, I was going in different directions. I didn't mean she was 18 then. I meant I thought she was 18 at the start of Xenosaga 1. And for that to be 14 years ago, she would have had to have been 4 during the Miltian conflict. That was what I was bringing up. But I realized now that she was 18 when she joined Vector, not 18 during the events of Xenosaga. So she would be 22. 23 now.
Yeah, we're 15 years later now.
Yes.
She's 23.
Correct. During the Miltian conflict, an 8-year-old Shion saw her parents killed before her eyes in one of the facility's hospital rooms. The experience was so traumatic for her that she later repressed her memories of it. Dameron. A free orbiting colony that serves as Vector Industries... What?
Sorry, I saw an Untmao.
What?
It's pronounced like, okay, the way that you pronounce like that A with the 2 dots above it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way you pronounce that is make the A like the A shape with your mouth, but instead of making the sound you would make for an A, make the sound of an E. So it'd be eh. Dameron.
Okay, so I'm going to pronounce it as it's voiced in the game. Dameron.
I am gonna say it the way that I should.
You can say whatever you want, but interrupting
Come
me
on.
to tell me I'm wrong whenever I'm reading the game the way the game says it
The game
to be
is wrong
appreciated.
and stupid.
A free
And
orbiting
I'm sorry.
colony that serves as Vector Industries' main headquarters. It is so large, 1,000 kilometers in length, that it is almost like an artificial planet. The nerve center of the entire group and its affiliated businesses is gathered on this colony. Shion's living quarters, as well as the first R&D division where she was stationed, were also here. The office where Vector CEO Wilhelm converses with the Testaments is laid out in the upper block of the Dom room. The Dom room is categorized as a colony, but its mobility and firepower far outclasses even the military's large battleships. When the Kukai Foundation was in danger after being surrounded by Gnosis, it appeared before Shion with 3 allied ships. With those ships, it launched the powerful Rhine Maiden, a particularly noteworthy part of its power. The music of Wagner is always playing in Wilhelm's office. That, combined with the name Rhine Maiden, gives one a good idea of his tastes. That part was necessary.
Yeah.
Look at this, though, the Rhine Maiden. 3 Woglinde class ships, all circling around the fucking 1,000 kilometer length ship, all combining into a gigantic mega fuck you laser.
I'm starting to think this guy might be German. What's with the Floschheid?
It's a ship, one of the 3. The Woglinde, the Flotilde, and the Woglinde too.
Wait, how do you say them?
I don't fully remember the second word. They
Did
said
they
it
make
exactly once.
do you remember if it had an S sound in it at all?
If I remembered, I would not be saying I don't remember.
I'm just curious if they got the assets right. Because clearly this is a lot of like the very German.
I don't know about
Very
the first
German.
half of the word, but the last half of the word ended in ilde. Wogunde, Woglinde.
Flosilde? The Flosilde?
Maybe. They said it exactly once.
Unimportant.
Xenosaga Episode 1, Rhine Maiden. Brief sidetrack. See, Damarung.
Flosilde. Okay. You know what? I can't even be mad at that. At least they didn't pronounce it with a B. I'll kill myself.
So Bilde.
It's the Flobilde, guys. The Flosilde.
Loophole. No. Oh my god. Oh, well, we weren't very far. Personality reconditioning facility. a facility established to perform personality reconditioning on serious criminals with behavioral brain disorders. Andrew was institutionalized in this facility's building, which is divided into 3 departments: a research lab to investigate behavioral brain disorders, a hospital ward to conduct personality reconditioning surgery, and an instructional department to re-educate patients with the goal of returning them to society. The re-education curriculum is centered around lifestyle guidance and work training. Patients with severe emotional disorders may undergo psychotherapy or a hypnosis therapy. Once a full re-education curriculum has been completed and a subject has been acceptably rehabilitated according to the baseline set by the court of law, he is allowed to return to regular society and live a normal life, albeit under the surveillance of an administrative manager. Sunken City. After the space-time anomaly, Old Miltia was blocked off from the local UMN, spatially detached from the rest of the universe. 14 years later, it reappeared, but the city had lost its past liveliness and most of its surface had flooded. Exactly what happened to this land during this blink interval is unknown. Labyrinthos, where the original Zohar sleeps, looms in the city center, barely retaining its original form. Second Miltia. With Old Miltia, the previous capital planet, swallowed up into the space-time anomaly, the capital was hurriedly relocated to a habitable planet that had just completed Stage 2 terraforming within the same Tantus arm. The planet is still being modified today, but primeval forests still flourish throughout the land. It is blessed with a great deal of water, making it reminiscent of Lost Jerusalem. Helmer, representative of Second Miltia's autonomous state government, is currently at the helm. Helmer's at the helm. The government contributed
You
to
mean
the
tell me?
establishment.
Sorry,
You're good.
I was gonna say, you mean to tell me Helmer's helming this?
The government contributed to the establishment of the Kukai Foundation. In practice, the two are deeply connected, working as a single group or force. Shion and Jin's house is located in the suburbs of Second Miltia. Immigration to the planet has been taking place since the tail end of Stage 1 terraforming, but Shion's grandfather apparently settled there before that time. The planet is 13,200 kilometers in diameter. Its gravity is 1.03 times that of... I don't know that word.
What the fuck is Earth?
I think it means Lost Jerusalem?
Okay, I like to think that this is just like meta context.
It is. I don't know if this is supposed to be Dabrai or Debris.
Debray.
The Bry Mine. A mine in Miltia, located in the southeast part of Labyrinthos. Huh? Is Labyrinthos not the tower that was built by people? This mine is not located inside Labyrinthos, it's located, like, southeast of the city.
I don't know.
A relatively wide range of mineral ores were mined here, including gold, silver, copper, lead, zinc, and iron. It was mainly mined for iron and produced the most iron of any Miltian mined, boasting a yearly output of 9 million tons. According to one report, most of the mined iron was used in the construction of Labyrinthos. So, it is a thing that was built. How can you build Labyrinthos in Labyrinthos? How does that make sense? I want a refund.
Maybe it's like New York, New York?
No. As the UTIC organization armed itself, the mine's crew was forced to work under increasingly restricted conditions. By the time Miltia disappeared, the mine had mostly been abandoned. It is said that the tight restrictions on workers stemmed from a feud between the old hierarchy and the government of the Republic, which was a puppet of the Federation. Durandal. A heavily armed Kukai Foundation ship that extends over 4,000 meters in length. Junior is normally in command of the ship, otherwise it is run by the sisters Mary and Shelley. Its front end plunges into the center of the Foundation colony to dock with it, turning the whole ship into a metropolis. It has now become a tourist attraction and is even listed in travel guides. The specialized design came about as the result of careful thought over the evacuation of the colony in an emergency. In such a case, citizens would evacuate directly into the Durandal, which would then take off, abandoning the colony. The Durandal's activities mainly involve missions from the Second Miltian Government or Contact Subcommittee that must be kept from the public eye. As a result, the Durandal's movements are not a matter of public record. The UTIC organization has taken advantage of this situation to ensnare the Durandal in the past. Currently, its contracted mission is to protect the Zohar emulators and hunt down the Gnosis. CAT Testing Ground. Short for the Consolidated Advanced Technology, the CAT testing grounds are contained within a giant facility located on 5th Jerusalem, capital planet of the Galaxy Federation. Many kinds of new technology are tested there, including military technology. Telus's evaluation test was held in the number 4 exercise area, the largest section of the base and big enough to hold operational tests for giant mobile weaponry. Lake Turkana. The lake whose excavation project was led by Dr. Masuda, funded by Vector Industries Capital. Excavation of the lakeside revealed the pedestal of the compass of order and chaos. When Masuda placed a stone tablet he had with him on the excavated object, the Zohar appeared from the lake. The lake is located on the northern edge of Kenya in Africa. Its surface area is 7,000 square kilometers and its maximum depth is 73 meters. It is located in a very hot, semi-arid area, and there is little vegetation in the landscape apart from the shrubs. The eastern coastline of Lake Turkana is well known as one of Africa's greatest sites for fossilized hominids. The region is home to the Sibuboy, Central Island, and South Island National Parks. A large variety of bird species live in the area. The lake basin also offers a view of a Quaternary period desert environment. As a vital location for historical research, the Lake Turkana National Parks were registered as a Natural Heritage World Heritage Site in AD 1997. This registration was expanded in AD 2001.
Natural Heritage, World Heritage, Site Heritage.
Reading this long is getting too many.
In 80 Heritage, 19 Heritage, 97 Heritage.
Reading out loud, I should specify. I keep stumbling over easy words.
You got this. Only a little bit further.
5th Jerusalem. The capital planet of the Federation and the center of its legislative, judicial, and federal branches. The Contact Subcommittee, among other groups, has its headquarters here. Jerusalem means City of Peace in Hebrew. The Old Church. An old church in the suburbs of Daskupta, capital of Milsha. Okay, so the city is called Daskupta, which means the city is not called Labyrinthus. So, New York, falls flat.
Huh, okay then.
It has been abandoned for a fairly long time, but it is thought to have been an Ormus church at one point. Pleroma. A planetoid built by fusing several asteroids together uses a hiding place by the Utic organization. Its solemn exterior evokes an air of sanctity. In the past, it was a place of worship used by Ormus. By the time the Utic organization reopened it after the Miltian conflict, it had been abandoned for several centuries. The name Pleroma was given by the Patriarch. It was named after the immigrant ship used by Ormus to escape Earth's geosphere. This is the place where Momo was captured and held captive by Margulis. Badea Island. A small island approximately 2 kilometers in circumference in the Vertex Archipelago in Second Miltia. The Vertex Archipelago is famous as a vacation destination. However, now that most people are concentrating on Fata Morgana Island, which is being fostered as a tourist spot by the Second Miltian government, almost no tourists visit these islands, making them a hidden gem for sightseeing. CSRC. The Cerebral Sciences Research Center is headed by Joachim Mizrahi, a specialized laboratory established under Vector sponsorship that integrated cerebral neurology and phenomena. Thank you. This is what I'm talking about. Easy words.
No, phenomena.
Don't bully me. You read nothing but psychology over words for 8 hours straight and see what happens to you.
No.
It was the site of both original Zohar analysis and Gnosis research. The unique nature of its research caused it to be treated as a fringe element by many, but the center's accomplishments included environmental bugs, the DSSS, and the Hilbert effect. In order to analyze the original Zohar, Joachim reconstructed Lemegeton. That's what we decided on.
Yep.
Which was being stored by Vector, and began design work on the Song of Nephilim and the Udu system. He also produced specialized realians known as transgenic types for use as body donors during the design process. Afterwards, a plan was unfurled to use the Zohar as a weapon and energy source. Jurisdiction was transferred from Vector to the Federation government, and it became the Utic organization, a group under direct governmental control. Miltia. Shion and Jin's home planet, more often referred to today as Old Miltia, to differentiate it from Second Miltia. Site of the Miltian conflict and birthplace of many other incidents and tragedies, it was sealed away for 14 years when its region of space was blocked off from the UMN. However, after the Y data was leaked, the path to Miltia was unlocked and the planet once again turned into a battlefield over the original Zohar resting within Labyrinthos. After landing on Miltia, Shion was faced with a painful decision in front of the Zohar. She also learned the startling truth behind the Miltian conflict. However, despite having destroyed the Zohar control system to stop the awakening of Udu, the Omega system sprung into action by Ormus's hand, and Proto-Omega was born, destroying the planet itself in the process. On that day, Miltia disappeared from space forever. Miltian Hierarchy. A solar system-wide state formed on Miltia, the only habitable planet in the Miltian system, Galaxy 18, Tantus Arm, Fourth Finger. Since most of its citizens originated from the immigrant fleet and its political structure followed fleet doctrine, the nation was governed independently, without the input of the Galaxy Federation. Later, it buckled under Federation pressure and moved to an autonomous state form of government, with a representative appointed by the Federation government as head of state. However, the status of essentially being under the control of the Federation government served to antagonize the public and became one of the causes of the Miltian conflict. Much of the later UTIC organization's membership was built from the remnants of the hierarchy's government's military. Hierocracy government's military. Miltian Autonomous State. Did I not just... Okay. Miltian Autonomous State. A solar system-wide state formed by the Miltian
Hierocracy?
A solar system-wide state formed by the Miltian Hierocracy. I hate that word.
That is a really fucked up word.
It's like, it looks so easy, you can look at it and go, oh yeah, easy word. As soon as you say it, it's like your throat constricts on itself. Just like implodes.
Yeah, it's a hierarchy.
Formed by the Miltian Hierocracy by shifting its structure after it joined the Galaxy Federation. The idea of a Federation representative serving as head of state resulted in smoldering discontent, leading to the outbreak of the Miltian conflict. Of course, there were other circumstances behind the conflict that were not revealed to the public. With this conflict, the Miltian star system became isolated from the UMN, and the remaining Hierocracy government officials were annihilated. I did it first try that time.
Nah.
Most of the citizens who escaped planet Miltia moved to a habitable planet 10 parsecs, about 36 light-years away, in a neighboring star system, where terraforming had just been completed using Miltian funds. Later, the star system would inherit the Miltia name, and the planet would come to be called Second Miltia. Lieutenant General Helmer was chosen from the immigrant fleet military to become the new parliamentary representative, and the planet has been stable ever since. Its capital is Mitre.
See, this is why we hire immigrants. They create stable planets.
Miltian Space. Miltian Space refers to the group of solar systems in Galaxy 18 Tantus Arm Fourth Finger. Second Miltia is a solar system about 36 light-years away in the Third Finger. Miltian Space is the site of the most intense fighting in a war that completely engulfed the Galaxy Federation. That war, the Miltian conflict, was named after this area. Moby Dick's Cafe. A cafe whose exterior blends in with Second Miltia's modern cityscape, but whose interior is tinged with a nostalgic tone. It originally conducted business in Sector 4, but moved away after the sector became zoned for redevelopment. The white whale in the sign comes from the famous novel. The interior recreates the atmosphere of the Pequod, the whaling ship that chased after Moby Dick in the story. The cafe mostly serves alcohol and light fare, but the curry it offers as a one-off menu item is the secret delight of its customers. Chion's homemade curry also has its roots here, as she's been a customer of this cafe since high school. Jen also stops by frequently.
Does he get gin?
Is this a bad time to admit I've never read Moby Dick?
Don't worry, neither have I.
UMN Administration Bureau. An organization affiliated with the Galaxy Federation that administrates and manages the UMN. It has branch offices in every star system. One of them, the one on the Second Miltia, was where Momo conducted the Y data analysis. Normally, it handles the control, administration, and customs duties for UMN communications and gate jumps. It also investigates and handles any incidents or accidents that occur within the UMN. The UMN was originally administrated and managed by Vector. When the rights moved to the Galaxy Federation, the Bureau was formed with Vector's cooperation. Since it is essentially in a position where it can take hold of all the Galaxy's information, its statements carry heavy weight with the central government. However, it is also true that 98% of their infrastructure, resources, and technicians are still provided by Vector. Definitely not a conflict of interest there.
Definitely not.
UMN Control Center, the facility that controls the UMN transport gate on 2nd Miltia. It was once a transfer gate control facility owned by Vector Industries. Even now, Vector provides 98% of the center's infrastructure and resources. All facilities related to the UMN are essentially under the jurisdiction of the UMN Administrative Bureau. Since they are in a position where they can hold all of the galaxy's information, their statements carry weight with the central government. Yuriev Institute, an Udu research organization established by Dmitry Yuriev in the TC 4660s. It unraveled the Udu phenomenon and developed and raised the URTVs as a countermeasure. Since its backbone consists of salvators from political and financial circles, it is assured both assorted government amnesties and abundant funding for its activities. It possesses a private force the size of the military of an autonomous state. Although this private force is small in scope, it has absolute command superiority over the Salvatores and the Federation military. Labyrinthos. The name of the tower that serves as the UTIC organization's central headquarters. The term is also generally used to refer to all of the headquarters buildings. So how was the mine inside of it?
One of the buildings, I guess.
No, it's
I don't know.
completely outside of the city.
I don't know that.
Labyrinthos, the Acute Neurosis Treatment Facility, the former CSRC, and the Song of Nephilim were a part of its facilities. Top secret research, including that on the original Zohar and the vessels of Anima, was conducted in an underground experimental facility. During the Miltian conflict, the tower was invaded by the Federation URTV Special Forces. However, the Song of Nephilim was allowed to launch, escaping the planet with a 1/3 of the organization's staff. The tower is also the place where Joachim Mizrahi fell to his death. Afterwards, Labyrinthos was set to be taken over by the Federation military, but they were unable to stop the space-time anomaly that Joachim had set off. Most of the tower's research material, including the original Zohar, was sealed off along with Miltia. Rumor has it that a Salvatore unit in command of the URTVs took some research material from Miltia just before it was sealed off. However, the confusion caused by the space-time anomaly and the Gnosis phenomenon has left us with no accurate records, so it is unknown whether there is any truth to this rumor. Rennes-le Chateau, a piece of land thought to be a chunk of lost Jerusalem. Its origin is unknown, but it is floating freely in space. The Ormus treat it as a sacred place, claiming that the saint sleeps there. What that saint is exactly is unknown. Lost Jerusalem, Earth, mother planet of the human race.
Oh, we just called it
that's
Earth.
what that is. Well, of course it's Earth.
But yeah, but I thought that was like a rumor. I thought that was a game theory.
No.
It just says it. Oh, okay.
They've been talking about the Zohar was uncovered in Kenya, Africa.
Yeah.
As a result of the space-time anomaly touched off after the Zohar went out of control several thousand years ago, currently not even its existence can be confirmed. The goal of Ormus is to return to Lost Jerusalem. They are attempting to effect its resurrection through the Zohar. Planet Italia. A small planet affiliated with the Galaxy Federation that serves as a relay point between planets in all directions. Its population is not particularly large, since most people going from one planet to another will pass through Italia at some point. It has more travelers than permanent residents. Its good weather makes it a comfortable place to live. Most of the planet has been zoned off for the resort homes of the rich and powerful. There's a lodging section for visitors, but the rates there are astoundingly high. Most people only visit this planet as a relay point on the UMN transfer column to their destination. Planet Ariadne. A medium-sized planet, population 1.5 billion, divided into 3 sections. A zone filled with greenery, a zone surging with businesses and research facilities, and a living space for regular citizens. The business zone housed the headquarters of a company which focused on the artificial plant industry. The planet's green zone was dominated by the artificial plants of this business, and new types of flowers, amongst other items, were sold to the citizens of the main planets. The Ariadne flower, with its unique blue petals, was an especially popular product. However, lurking beneath all of this was an experimental facility owned by Ormus, the UTIC organization. A link experiment with the Zohar emulators carried out in this facility under Andrew's command caused a space-time anomaly that annihilated planet Ariadne, turning it into a Gnosis. This event was later referred to as the disappearance of planet Ariadne, and the Woblinde was dispatched to investigate it.
Excuse me. The planet turned into a Gnosis?
You remember how I said I was in Xenosaga 1 whenever I said I was inside of a dungeon that was like a gigantic Gnosis ship that had the Zohar in it?
Was that Ariadne?
Yeah, Ariadne.
Ariadne?
We didn't know it at the time, but yeah.
Okay.
It turned into the cathedral ship.
Okay.
So planets turning into Gnosis is not unprecedented, which means Abel's Ark could still be Lost Jerusalem.
I'm putting money on it. No, I'm not.
I would.
I'm still putting money on it.
Planet Carioca. A planet with a wealth of national-level support programs, making it inviting to many businesses and university research facilities. Vector Industries' first and third R&D divisions constructed several facilities here. It was in the research room of the Type 1 OS Design Department, the precursor to the Cosmos Project, that the archetype went out of control, leading to tragedy. Planet Kelsha. A planet neighboring 5th Jerusalem, diameter approximately 21,500 kilometers. Planetary development is said to have taken a mind-numbingly long amount of time, but now it is a rich and varied planet with 6 billion people living their lives in a vast temperate landscape. Kelsha is the home planet of Julia and Chloe, the Seraphim sisters, from whom Captain Matthews has fallen head over heels. They're currently on a major tour celebrating the group's 1-year anniversary. Planet Zaporov. A planet that is home to a deep-seated Salvatore force. The Yuriev Institute was opened here. After her separation from Joachim, Yulia Mizrahi lived on this planet with Sakura. Since it belonged to a solar system near Miltia's, it became the base of operations for the Galaxy Federation Peacekeeping Detachment Fleet during the Miltian conflict. Planet Sinir. The skies of this planet are always covered in thick clouds. Due to this weather, there are only a few residential zones where citizens live. Since land prices are low planet-wide, it is covered with small business headquarters, branch offices, and research buildings. The UTIC organization has been using this planet as a cover for a testing facility that conducts secret research. This is why Andrew tried to come here after the Woblinde disaster upon being rescued by the Elsa. Oh yeah, I remember that. The Galaxy Federation regards the UTIC organization as a terrorist group for the role it allegedly had in causing the Miltian conflict to break out. It has gone underground to escape pursuit, but its powers is not withered, and it still has facilities across many planets. Planet Testadora. The capital planet of the autonomous state of Testadora. Diameter 12,500 meters, gravity 1.02 times that of Earth. The planet is located in the farthest part of space from the Galaxy Federation's chief planets, but it has a Federation-affiliated Marine Force, the 117th Marine Division. However, Andrew and the other UTIC organization agents have infiltrated the Testadora's Marine Division that went with the cruiser Woklinde to investigate planet Ariadne. From this, there arises the possibility that UTIC organization remnants are strong in Testadora's government and military. Planet Mictum, this is the last one. The current name for planet Abraxas. The real reason why the planet was named after a celestial body is unknown, but the prevailing theory claims it was due to the 4th planet in the Mictum system being the only one habitable by humanity.
We did it.
We're free! I'm just gonna add an extra hour to the time. Actually, it's about 4 hours. You wanna see the Dark Professor?
Sure.
I think this is where it's supposed to be. Oh, I also got, I don't even remember where it was. It was like a treasure map. That was like, go here in a beach and then you find something. Oh, I don't remember what the spots were. It was like one of the top left and like going by the water. How far can I go?
Oh.
What did this accomplish? Huh? What is happening?
Another one you can knock over.
Oh, this one had a chest in it. Woo! Because the professor got an email, no, an actual mail, a physical paper mail from his
A letter?
rival, yeah, from his rival Dark Professor, who said, "I heard you're trying to make Urtikaiser, so I'm going to make Urtikaiser Evil Edition. Cry about it, loser." And the professor's like, "I don't like this. Can you, like, go stop him or something? He's at a beach or something, I don't know." What was the point of this? Is it just to get a cool view?
I guess. They put a lot of work into those skyboxes back there.
It feels so weird actually playing the game and not just reading words on a screen.
There's too much movement. My eyes hurt. Stupid is also watching the game. What, no comment about how that's stupid?
No.
Well, it is.
I know, you told me. Oh boy! I just gotta wear this!
You just gotta wear it. It ups the luck a lot.
It would be embarrassing if someone else sees it. Not database. That was habit. Someone else is seeing it, Shion.
Pretty messy. Hey, you are someone else.
Everyone just assumes it's their mess and thinks it would be equally embarrassing. Okay, so I have no idea what the Dark Professor is. Maybe I have the letter in my key items.
Whew.
I do not.
Alright. I assume you're gonna continue playing the game.
Oh, I'm going to the professor to ask him where the Dark Professor is.
Okay.
He should live down here somewhere or something.
It's Bunny.
Scott, where's the professor? I'm right here. Oh, here he is. You wanna tell me about the Dark Professor? I didn't want to look it up. It is on Padea. What? Xenosaga 3, where is Dark Professor? Oh, seriously? Oh, no, never mind. Apparently you can find it, I just didn't see it. And it was on the island. So I will check one more time. But also, apparently, the actual stuff you can do is part of a post-game quest.
Okay.
You can still find him and talk to him, though, supposedly? I can't believe we've been in Disc 2 this long and haven't actually done anything in Disc 2. But I found something.
Definitely something.
I found a thread with someone saying they're in chapter 3 and they found the professor's lab, but can't get into it because they haven't talked to the professor, the actual professor yet. Which means you can't find the laboratory.
And I just haven't. I have to imagine it's something to do with this giant crater on the floor and this rock. Next visit to Padea Island via EVS on a short sim plane when you get to the beach, showing the door on the right is now open. What door on the right? This is a beach. There's an ocean. I feel gaslit. I'm on the beach. There is no door to the right. There is only ocean. What are you talking about? Aha! I found it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh no. He's dead.
Arch rival.
What is happening?
Fuck. Dark Professor's fucking dead.
So what I learned during research a couple seconds ago, which is good that I did this research actually, the Dark Professor was part of Xenosaga 2's post-game.
Okay.
So that's how he knows us. I did not know this at all.
See, this is what you miss out by going directly to the next game.
Okay, but Xenosaga 2 sucks and I will never touch this post-game.
Okay.
Also, I'm on a time limit.
Yeah.
How does he know all this? What?
What?
He may be evil, but he's not that evil. I think I will die.
Do it.
This does not count as a death because this is the post-game super boss that I am fighting right now. Just stating that right now for everyone who may try to say, haha, you died.
With the power of the pure black soul within me, Sigma has arrived.
Pretty crazy Sigma's here.
You're too
He
young
gets a
to
sing on.
defeat me.
Help, I'm scared.
Ether drive.
Yeah, that did absolutely nothing to him. Barely broke him at all. Great, great.
Ether drive!
Your attacks are nothing.
Glad you think so, because I agree.
Not attacking at all.
Dispersal mode activated.
Still absolutely nothing on his health bar.
No damage.
This checks.
6!
Oh, and now he has a shield.
The Kaiser Shield is an invisible element of defense system that surrounds the Sigma. There is a secret to breaking this defense system.
Thank you? Must be electricity. Erda Kaiser!
Erde Kaiser!
Calling the Urtikaiser to kill the Urtikaiser Sigma.
Erda Kaiser, how did
I
you...
have a cutscene for it!
Oh, I'm so
And
glad
it
they
worked!
programmed something for that.
Here I go. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh my god.
I mean, he's fine. He's just taking a nap.
God is dead and Sigma killed him.
Ether drive! Ether drive!
Well, it was fun while it lasted. Holy shit, Christmas worked.
Cosmos is still alive.
Someone's still fighting! It's Cosmos!
Ether drive!
It's fun with while it lasted.
Honestly, I'm shocked at how long I lived.
New combat. Shutting down systems.
I'm shocked how long we lasted. It's not a game over!
No.
That's actually fucking awesome. It's not a game over. We can just walk. That's fucking awesome.
Oh.
That's genuinely really cool.
Well, that's good. That's good game design. Whew. Okay, anyways. I'm probably gonna go to bed now.
Yeah, I want one actual cutscene, and then I will call it as well, probably.
I really don't want to leave before you watch the cutscene, but I am like... I'm quite tired.
After all this reading, I need at least one progression.
The reading was the progression.
That was not progression, that was understanding.
That was comprehension.
No, not the Robot Academy. Wait, no, yes, that is what I wanted. Okay, it's been so long that I do not remember what we're supposed to be doing. Clearly.
Hey, Google, which part of the game am I doing after reading 5 hours worth of text boxes?
Is there something that gives you the story so far thing? Current objective, here we go. Gotta board the
Objective,
Merkaba. How do we do that? Maybe I was supposed to talk to Matthews and we'll, like, fly the Elsa somewhere.
Alright, here, let me know what happens. I'm gonna use the restroom and then go to bed.
Okay.
I've had to use the restroom for the last, like, couple hours. But, reading. Anyways, I'll talk to you later, man. Let me know what happens.
Yep.
See you.
Hurry, Rubido. The Merkaba has already made contact with Abel's Ark.
I know.
Listen, the Merkaba's own attack capability isn't very high. If we can get past the defense fleet, getting inside will be simple.
You make it sound easy. We're on an independent mission and ignoring Federation law. Not only are the Ormus our enemy, but the Federation fleet and the Gnosis as well.
It shouldn't be a problem with your skill, should it? I have high expectations for you.
Gee, thanks. Tony, we're on.
Leave it to me. Time to start the show.
Yes, please. Okay, that will be where I call it.